When it comes to top-selling family sedans, you don't need to look much farther than a Toyota Camry. This nameplate has been in the United States for over 40 years, and even though Americans and everyone else are obsessed with SUVs, the Toyota Camry has remained the best-selling vehicle in its class, period. Now for 2025, Toyota is ready to introduce an all-new 9th generation version of the Camry. As you can see, it has new styling in the front and the rear. It has an all-new interior with the largest 12.3-inch touchscreen that we've ever seen on a Camry. And for the first time ever, Toyota is only offering this vehicle with its latest hybrid powertrain and pairing it with all-wheel drive for the first time. So as you can see, this week, Toyota has loaned us this fully loaded Camry XSE all-wheel drive painted in this new color called Ocean Gem. And the big question I want answered, for those of you who are looking for an efficient commuter car and you wouldn't be caught dead in an SUV, how does the latest version of the Toyota Camry stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Before we start talking about the exterior styling of this new 9th generation Camry, the big story, of course, with this new model is what's going on underneath the hood, because Toyota has discontinued all of the gas-only powertrains, including that lovely V6. All Camrys are now hybrids, and it has the latest powertrain, of course, from the Toyota Prius. Now underneath this hood, you're going to find a combination of a gasoline 4-cylinder engine. So it's a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that runs on the Atkinson cycle. So it's technically a bigger, a half-liter displacement larger engine versus the motor in the Toyota Prius. It is either paired up with 2 or 3 electric motors. This model that I'm showing you here has the company's new electronic all-wheel drive system. So it has 3 electric motors. The gas engine on its own delivers around 183 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. Add in the output of the electric motors, and we have a combined total of 232 horsepower. So that's roughly about 25-ish more ponies versus the old Camry hybrid. If you guys go for a front-wheel drive Camry hybrid or front-wheel drive model, it'll have about 225 horsepower, which is still plenty of power, especially considering the uptick in fuel efficiency. Now, it all goes out through the latest version of Toyota's electronic eCVT. It's a continuously variable transmission. And like I said earlier, either front or all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive system gets its power from a third electric motor powering the rear axle. So there's no physical connection between the front gas engine and the rear wheels. Now, fuel economy, Camrys can be rated as high as like 52 mpg. This model that I'm showing you here is the least efficient model because it's the XSE with all-wheel drive. It's still rated at a very impressive 44 in the city, 43 on the highway, 44 combined. It has a 13-gallon fuel tank. This vehicle runs on regular gas. Theoretically, it should be able to go around 550 miles on a full tank. So easily twice the range of all those silly electric, fully electric sedans that you might be considering as well. Toyota doesn't claim a 0 to 60 time. We'll get it out on the road. We'll see what we can get on our actual testing. It should have a top speed of around 112 miles an hour. And as this vehicle sits, it weighs in at just over 3,600 pounds. It's about 100 pounds heavier versus the front-wheel drive version of the Camry hybrid. But closing the hood, I will say that the hood is very heavy and it is supported by a prop rod as opposed to struts. That's one of the reasons why you would consider a Lexus ES. But as you can see, the styling of this vehicle adopts Toyota's latest design language. Their hammerhead front fascia with their new headlights, their new grille. You can see this XSE grade includes these upgraded full LED headlights with the LED low and high beams, amber illuminated accents for the daytime running light and turn signal. There's also a separate LED front accent light along the lower fascia. That's an extra $399 from the factory. It certainly creates a very interesting light signature. You can see it has that new mail slot grille. It's very Prius-like. There's also an actual opening there because remember it has a gas engine that requires cooling. There's the Toyota logo here with the integrated front camera at the front with the nicely integrated parking sensors. I love how the XSE also has kind of like a hexagonal shape in the grille pattern with exposed openings and the body colored accents with this kind of three-dimensional texture. It's a little bit busy, but I also think it's an improvement over the previous generation Camry. I also love this color called Ocean Gem. It's a new color this year. My test car has the two-tone black roof combination for an extra $500. You can get this color on other trims of the Camry as well. Now moving around the side profile, this vehicle is still built on the TNGA K architecture, so it's just kind of the same platform but with some tweaks to improve the ride and handling, of course. Its overall length increased by about an inch at 193.5. It still rides on the same 111-inch long wheelbase. Width also stays the same. Height, for the most part, stays the same. Compared to the Lexus ES, the current one, which is going to be redesigned as well, the Camry is still about 2 inches shorter in the overall length, and in the wheelbase, the Honda Accord is a little bit longer. This vehicle is about the same length as the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid as well. Now looking at the wheels, my test car has an optional accessory wheel for an extra $1,500. It's a 19-inch wheel with a multiple spoke gray finish design. It looks fairly nice, but personally, I would save $1,500 and just go with the standard directional 5-spoke wheels that Toyota puts on the XSE. They also look really good. You have a 12.8-inch rotor at the front with a 12-inch rotor at the back, all independent suspension, McPherson struts, multi-link in the back, no adaptive dampers, but you can see the tires are a 235 by 40 R19 Bridgestone all-season tire. So it's a Terenza all-season. Pretty nice size wheel. They fill out the wheel wells quite nicely. You can see with the XSE, you have a black painted side mirror, integrated turn signals. The mirrors, however, are not power folding. That's something that you can get, I believe, on the Toyota Crown. I love the black roof design here with the panoramic glass sunroof. This is an optional feature, part of a premium package. This is the first time you can get the hybrid Camry with the panoramic roof. In the previous generation, you can only get it on the gas-only powertrain. And then when you look at the profile from this angle, this is where I'm really seeing a lot of the sleekness with the Camry. Although I do see the same basic doors and silhouette as the previous generation. The front fascia and the rear fascia, as you can see, have been heavily redone, but there are some elements that remind you of the previous generation. Now, looking at the rear, you can see all combination LED taillight design. The XSE also includes this really nice black painted rear deck lid spoiler that goes well with the black accent here along the actual trunk lid that spells out Camry. You can see the taillights are full LED, including LED turn signals, reverse lights, and brake lights. There's also an XSE and all-wheel drive hybrid badge. HEV stands for hybrid electric vehicle. It's got their new Beyond Zero badge. And then unlike the previous generation, which did offer a quad exhaust system, you can see the XSE just gives you a single exhaust with dual chrome tips. It almost looks like there's space on the other side for another exhaust tip, but sadly Toyota does not offer that, at least here in the US, on any trim. In terms of the cargo area, this vehicle has a redesigned or new lithium-ion battery pack that measures around 1.1 kilowatt hours. The upside here is, of course, it doesn't take up any actual trunk space. It remains the same as the old Camry at 15.1 cubic feet of space, which is nice. You can see underneath here, there is actually a spare tire, so you don't have to deal with a fix-a-flat kit. It's just a donut spare, but you can see the seats do fold down in a 60/40 manner. Unfortunately, these hinges will crush your cargo, so you have to be careful when you're loading it up, if you're loading up the trunk to the brim, to not crush whatever you have in here that might be fragile. So on the outside, the new Camry definitely has a much sleeker appearance to it, but what about the interior? Toyota has made a lot of changes for this new 9th generation model. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the latest version of Toyota's Intelligent Access push-button start key fob. You can see it has Camry on the back. It has the usual buttons here for lock, unlock, remote open for the trunk, and panic. There's also remote start from the fob. If you push the lock button 3 times and then hold it on the 3rd try, it'll activate the remote start. My test car has the Premium Plus package, which also rolls in their Digital Key 2 system, where you can use your smartphone as a key if you are an actual owner of this vehicle. You can see the door handles. They look like they're a direct carryover of the previous generation. Touch that little area here, that will lock the doors for you. You can see the mirrors are not power folding. This vehicle does not offer a walk-away auto lock or unlock feature like some competitors. Touch the back of the door handle, you can see that opens up the door for you. And this particular test car that I'm showing you has basically the only color combination that you can get with this Ocean Gem exterior. This is the black with the blue contrast leather trimmed seats that you get with the XSE. If you go for an SE grade, you'll have the soft tex, which is the fake leather. The XLE will have the leather and the microfiber suede. The XSE has upgraded leather with this kind of contrast blue stitching and blue perforations, which kind of looks good with the black interior. You can also get the cockpit red interior, but it's not available, of course, with this exterior color. The cockpit red is very bold. I actually really like it, but I wish Toyota would offer a white or a really light gray interior, especially with this color combination. I think it would look fantastic. Now, in terms of the door panels, you can see there's a soft touch injection molded plastic on this upper area. There's more perforated real leather here. Silver painted plastic for the door handles. This actually almost looks like a carryover of the old Camry. Padded over here, and then the window controls. They're one touch for all 4. They're also illuminated, which is nice. The window controls definitely feel relatively high quality. I don't love this kind of cheap black plastic here. At least it's not a shiny piano black finish. And then my test car also has the upgraded JBL 9-speaker audio system included with the Premium Plus package. It sounds okay. Nothing super crazy good if you guys are an audiophile. These seats are also 8-way power adjustable. They offer 2-way lumbar support. Same thing on the passenger side. What you don't get, however, are memory seats. You do, however, get heated and ventilated seats, But if you want memory seats, you have to go to the XLE grade, which is weird because the XLE technically is cheaper than this particular trim, which is odd. But getting inside, you can see there's 5.4 inches of ground clearance, so it's a sedan. It's got that low sedan step-in height. As I shut the door has a more solid sounding thunk. The old Camry had a cheap tinny sound, so I think Toyota has definitely, addressed that a little bit with this new generation. When I push this button over here, it turns the vehicle on, and of course it's a hybrid, so it'll just say ready in the instrument panel. There's no engine coming on. Sometimes the engine will come on, of course, depending on the load, but you can see everything just kind of whirs to life. My test car here has two 12.3-inch displays. So this is standard on the XSE grade and the XLE grade. The lower trim Camrys will have a half digital, half analog display, and you'll also have a smaller 11 or 8-inch touchscreen in the center. You can get this 12.3-inch as an option package when you go for the SE trim. Now you can see my phone is connected via the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's even an option here where you can push that. It expands the CarPlay screen out to get rid of that additional bar there where you can go back to the native system. If you guys have seen my latest Toyota reviews, this is part of their new Toyota Audio Multimedia interface. It includes wireless over-the-air updates, the CarPlay and Android Auto. It's quick and snappy and easy to use. I like the interface of it. You can see going back to the native system here, you can basically adjust all your different sources here. You can go to the settings here. You can change a couple of things there. You can go to the embedded GPS. Most of you will just use the CarPlay anyway. So this is, nothing super fancy or special, but it certainly will get the job done. In terms of the interior materials, you can see there's a soft touch injection molded plastic on the upper portion. I don't love the way this looks here with this piano black and the different ridges. It just seems like an area that's going to collect fingerprints and dust and smudges, which I'm already seeing on my particular test vehicle. The steering wheel also is all new. It's the same steering wheel that we've seen on the new Toyota Crown. It includes paddles on the wheel for the CVT. It includes a manual tilt and telescoping adjustment with a good amount of adjustability and range. It has the latest, Toyota switchgear in here. The horn, it sounds pretty nondescript, but appropriately sized given, the size of this vehicle. You also have a heads-up display that's included with the Premium and Premium Plus packages, which is also nice. You have hard buttons, of course, to control the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. There's the camera that watches your face to make sure you're paying attention. You have more buttons over here to adjust your auto high beams. You can also dim the instrument panel, open up the trunk. You can pull up the 360 camera, which you can see there's the perimeter scan, which I find to be a relatively useless view. I've seen other manufacturers do better implementations of this perimeter scan. When you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full top-down 360 camera with cross-traffic detection, automatic emergency braking, front cross-traffic detection and braking as well. The graphic and resolution also is pretty high quality. It's about what you expect in today's modern vehicles, which is all very nice. You can see there's dual zone climate control. Love the fact that Toyota includes hard buttons and knobs, which is really nice. You can see there's your heated and ventilated seats. There's the auto function for your dual zone climate control. This vehicle also has a heated steering wheel. However, if you want to access the heated steering wheel, you have to go here into comfort and then access it through the screen. There's no individual button that allows you to turn it on and off. You can set it to an automatic function so you don't have to ever touch it, but I do find that to be annoying how it's actually in the screen for the vehicle. So that's kind of something you have to get used to. There's a wireless phone charging pad here. You have two USB charging ports, a USB-A charging port that also will connect to your smartphone if you don't feel like doing wireless, of course. There's a big center console area here with nice storage. Surprised to see there's a traditional shifter with a sport mode here. And then you can see there's four different drive modes. There's eco, normal, and sport, and an EV mode. When the battery has enough charge and it doesn't require the extra load, you can put it into an EV mode where it'll essentially drive in electric only at low speeds, at light throttle applications. I don't love the piano black here. Again, it's showing fingerprints, smudges, and scratches very easily. So I wish Toyota had shown some restraint there. This area here is nice and padded. It is hard over here. I don't love how this area here fits. My test car is not a pre-production car, so there's a little bit of panel gaps and bigger gaps that I'm seeing here that make the interior feel a little bit cheaper. It's a little un-Toyota-like, but again, Toyota wants you to step it up to a Lexus. You can see there's a nice padded center console here. Open this up. It's huge. It has enough space to put all my camera equipment. There's also a 12-volt power outlet in there, but the USBs are located out here. The seats, these are the leather seats that you get with the XSE. The heat and ventilation function is included as well. The cool function could be a little bit more cold, especially in these hot climate conditions. But I just find that the seat padding could be a little bit softer. There's, again, another reason to go for a Lexus if you guys prefer softer seats. The glove compartment you can see is a little on the small side. It actually goes into the dash, but it is still usable. It's just a little bit small. There's an auto-dimming rearview mirror here, but no digital camera rearview mirror. And then you can see here the nice panoramic glass roof. Has a retractable shade. It also opens up to vent air. So that's a nice touch. Again, you couldn't get this before on the hybrid Camry in the previous generation, but overall the interior is pretty much a safe upgrade. It has, again, a new dash design, larger infotainment systems, more safety tech and technology features, but I wouldn't call it luxurious. It is relatively spacious, and it's easy to see in and out of. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area of the new Camry. Again, with the wheelbase remaining the same, rear seat legroom also stays the same at 38 inches. The Accord offers around 2 more inches of legroom. The Hyundai Sonata offers around 3 less inches of legroom, so this is kind of right in the middle in terms of space. Rear seat door panel materials sadly are hard touch plastic, so you get a downgrade here. You do have leather at least along an area where you'd rest your elbow. Window controls, again, power up, down. They're one touch, which is a nice feature. And then when I get back here, you can see this is pretty much where I'd have the front seat to drive. Shutting the door, for somebody my height at 5'7", there's good foot space, good legroom as well. There is a hump here that intrudes on the middle passenger. These rear seat air vents are nice, but I have to say, I feel like I've seen these rear seat air vents in really old Toyotas, so it's kind of a carryover part. You do have 2 storage pockets in each of the seat backs. You also do have an armrest that folds down, gives you 2 cup holders. You can see in terms of headroom space, for somebody my height, the headroom is a little bit tight, so over 6 feet tall, you might find this to be a little constraining, but if you're looking at the Prius, this definitely has more interior space. You also have 2 USB charging ports, an A and a C. Back here, no heated rear seats, so it's a little bit Spartan, but overall, the interior and the backseat area is certainly still nice. No retractable shades or shades here. Again, that's another reason to go for the Lexus, or you can also check out the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, which does offer those features. So here we are back in the best-selling midsize family sedan, mainstream family sedan in America, the Toyota Camry. This car seriously needs no introduction because it has literally been the best-selling vehicle in its class for decades. And with an all-new version coming out, it really is going to put the other manufacturers on notice because even though this segment continues to shrink, it is still an excellent vehicle, especially if you guys are looking for an all-wheel drive hybrid option. This is the only car in the class now to give you an all-wheel drive hybrid option. Everything else, you know, you can get all-wheel drive, but you can't get it, or you can get a hybrid, but you can't get it with all-wheel drive, or you can't get it with both. So that's kind of what gives the Toyota Camry an edge over its competitors, and every Camry is now an all-wheel drive, or is now a hybrid, which is going to seriously improve the performance, the fuel efficiency. The model that we're driving today is the XSE hybrid with all-wheel drive. I don't even need to say hybrid because they all come with hybrid, but with the extra motor at the back, it now produces 232 horsepower, which is about 28 more horsepower than the Honda Accord hybrid, and about 40 more horsepower than the Hyundai Sonata hybrid. So again, this is the most powerful option, and it's the only option in the segment with all-wheel drive. But let's go ahead and test out the 0 to 60 because Toyota doesn't say what it is, but the last time we tested a Camry, we got 7.2 seconds. So we're in sport mode now. We're gonna brake torque it, which does make a difference. It feels really peppy off the line. CVT, so it's just gonna rev out the engine. 7.07 seconds there, so that's with it that's with it on a completely level surface. Again, I'm brake torquing it. The battery is almost fully charged in the indicator here. So that time is around a 0.2 second improvement versus the previous generation. Remember, this car offers, compared to the old Camry, about 28 more horsepower. Or I'm sorry, not 28, about I can't do the math right now. The old Camry made 208 horsepower, so this is 232. It does weigh about 100 pounds more, so you are gonna notice that it has a little bit more weight, but in reality, I mean, 0 to 60 times don't really matter in this segment of vehicle. I do it for demonstration purposes, but that time should be, you know, sufficiently fast for most people. Let's try another run here. This time, however, we won't brake torque it. It's more going slightly uphill, and let's see what we can get. It's still in sport. Very, very smooth transition between the electric motor going to the gas engine, then it just seamlessly blends together. 7.7 seconds there, so that's with, again, going slightly uphill. We'll take the 7.07 as the quickest time. Again, it's not gonna be able to compete with a V6 Camry. If you guys are, you know, trading in your old V6 Camry with front wheel drive, remember that car was notorious for being able to do some smoky burnouts and spinning out its tires all the time because it was only offered in front wheel drive. But that V6 Camry could easily hit the 60 mile per hour mark in about 6 seconds. So the upside, of course, with this new model is significantly better higher fuel efficiency, and you still have plenty of refinement as well. Now, the XSE that we're driving is the sport-oriented Camry. It has a specific tune to the suspension, but no adaptive dampers. The steering also gets a little bit more of a sportier tune, I believe. And in terms of sporty handling dynamics, this is still, riding on the same TNGA-K architecture. It has been slightly updated with new shocks and spring rates, new steering ratio, of course. This is still a relatively fun to drive family sedan. I mean, yes, this is no, BMW or Mercedes, obviously, but with the hybrid powertrain, what you feel instantly is anytime you go near the throttle, you feel the electric motor surge you forward immediately, so there's no delay. And then once the electric motor runs out of power, the gas engine kicks in seamlessly, and it just, provides effortless thrust, and it really gets you going up to speed nicely. This is where this car feels very powerful in day-to-day driving. It's nice. The suspension also stays relatively flat, but the ride quality is still pretty compliant. I have the car in sport mode now, but that doesn't affect the dampers. It just affects the throttle tip-in and the steering heft to it. But overall, it's a really easy to drive vehicle that's just, gonna put a smile on your face when you find your favorite back road for the most part. And then when I put my foot down there with the all-wheel drive, there's no wheel spin. It just will send the power. The rear wheels are only powered by that separate electric motor, so it doesn't really have as much power to feel like the vehicle push you around like it's a rear drive car. It's always going to feel primarily front wheel drive biased. But the new Camry just has so much better levels of refinement, power, acceleration, and handling. It's just an all-around improvement over the previous generation. And it really gets me excited to see what Lexus is going to do for the ES, because we are expecting a new generation ES to also show up. But this Camry has gotten pretty darn close to being Lexus-like, especially in its driving dynamics. Now, in terms of the visibility, I can see out of the front, the side, out of the rear pretty nicely. This pillar is also not super thick. This car also comes standard with Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0, which includes their pre-collision assist, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, all the stuff that you kind of expect. It also has front cross-traffic alert. Okay, I felt a little bit of wheel spin there, and I think it was coming from the outside front wheel. But again, it just accelerates so effortlessly. We'll switch the drive mode here into normal, which again kind of adjusts the throttle tip-in and the steering responses. And this is how most people are going to drive a Camry. It's really quiet. When you aren't pushing the engine super hard, you really don't hear it. Even when you are pushing it, however, Toyota's 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain has gotten more refined over the years. This is probably one of the quietest sounding engines that I've heard in their hybrid lineup for, this planetary design with the eCVT. And then right now, for example, I'm not on the throttle and it's running on pure electric power. So this has the ability to run on pure electric power at low speeds, at light throttle applications, but this is no plug-in hybrid, so it won't give you like actual electric only range. There is a manual mode here if you feel like taking control of the transmission. Although when you start pulling the paddles, it really doesn't do anything. It doesn't do much. So they're just kind of there as a gimmick. I suspect only the SE and XSE trim has the paddle shifters. So, it's there, it's available, but remember, the Camry is certainly no sports sedan, but it can also, hold its own as well. This is definitely along the same, sporty line as the Honda Accord. There used to be a really big difference between the Camry and the Accord's handling dynamics, but they're now honestly pretty similar. If there's one thing I want to criticize with this new Camry are the seats. These are the, upgraded seats that you get with the XSE grade. And I have to say, the seats are not the most comfortable for me personally. So try the seats out for yourselves before you buy this car, because I find the padding to be really, really stiff. It's not the plushest seat. I really need to spend time in an XLE trim, although I have a feeling the XLE is also going to be similar. It's almost like a reminder that Toyota wants you to buy a Lexus ES, because the last ES that I had have really plush seats. Lexus does really good seats, but in this Camry, I'm noticing that the padding is just a little bit on the firmer side. So again, try it out before you buy the car. You also are missing features like memory seats and rain sensing wipers. You get that in the XLE Camry, but for some reason, this top trim XSE, which is actually more expensive, doesn't include memory seats or rain sensing wipers. At least you can now get a panoramic sunroof on the hybrid. Before, that was exclusive to the gas only Camry, so that's nice that Toyota has included that. And then let's go ahead and talk about the fuel efficiency. This car is rated at 44 in the city, 43 on the highway, which is pretty decent, or not decent, that's actually excellent fuel economy ratings, although this is the most thirsty Camry of all the trims because of the 19-inch wheels, the XSE trim. In my week's worth of testing, I averaged just under 43 mpg in mixed driving, which is excellent. Combine that with a 13-gallon fuel tank, and you're looking at theoretically 550 miles of range, but in my actual testing, I only got around 460 miles of range. So I suspect if you're an owner of this vehicle and you drive it more economically, especially in the city conditions more likely, you're going to get even better fuel efficiency. So again, this makes it one of the most efficient vehicles in the segment, especially when you factor in the fact that this has all-wheel drive. So it makes the Camry super unique. But overall, while Toyota could have done more to push the envelope with this new Camry, some of you are, quick to call it basically a heavy refresh. It is a new generation according to Toyota, and it's kind of smart of them to not spend so much money trying to make this car all new, because as you guys know, the sedan segment continues to shrink, and while the Camry is still the best seller in the segment, it doesn't have quite as much competition, giving it trouble. So it's no surprise to me that Toyota wanted to play it safe. I think the new Camry looks great. It's comfortable, aside from the seats, which I don't love, the padding. It's got great technology. It's what you expect. It's got the hybrid all-wheel drive option. If you guys don't want all-wheel drive, you can save yourself $1,500 and get slightly better fuel efficiency. But overall, if you guys are in the market for just a mid-size family sedan, you don't want an SUV, this new Camry definitely needs to make it to the very top of your list. So here in America, a lot of other manufacturers seem to have ditched the mainstream mid-size family sedan segment. So it makes me really happy to see that Toyota is sticking to their guns by introducing an all-new Camry. I don't think this model is going anywhere, especially when you look at the sales numbers, because here in America in 2023, Toyota managed to sell a little over 290,000 Camrys here in the States. I know 290,000 pales in comparison to the 400,000 to 500,000 plus units that Toyota used to do maybe 20 years ago, but it's still a very healthy number. This easily outsold the next best-selling vehicle, the Honda Accord, by nearly 100,000 units. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Toyota decided to play it safe with this redesign and also recycle a few bits here and there from the previous generation. It wasn't a bad car, but I will definitely say that this is an all-new version. It's just not an all-new generation because, again, the platform is carryover. But after spending a week with this new Camry, I'm really in love with all the changes that Toyota has made. I think the exterior styling is an improvement, especially the XSE grade in this new ocean gem color with the two-tone roof. It's just a really handsome and sporty looking family sedan that's ridiculously practical and just really easy on the eyes. In terms of the powertrain, as you guys saw, 0 to 60 in a smidge over 7 seconds is quicker than the previous generation by about 0.2, 0.3 seconds, which is fine. In everyday driving, this feels a lot faster, especially if you guys are coming from the old Camry hybrid or the base gas base gas 4-cylinder. The V6 obviously is going to be quicker in terms of drag racing, but with the improved fuel efficiency, I think a lot of people are going to be willing to give up that additional speed, especially if you guys also want the all-wheel drive grip, which you can now finally get with the hybrid powertrain. The interior, while it isn't the most luxurious, I don't particularly love the seats. I think they're a little bit too firm for my personal taste, so try it out for yourself again and make sure that they're okay for you. The backseat offers a decent amount of space. The technology in this car is pretty much what you expect. If you guys have been in all the latest Toyota and Lexus products, it's going to be, right up there. It's going to offer all the features that you'd want, although I think that the XSE grade at this price point should include memory seats and rain sensing wipers. I shouldn't have to step basically down to the luxury-oriented XLE to get that, because I really like the styling dynamics of this model here over the XLE. But really where the Camry starts to kind of lose a little ground is in the pricing, and that's because this segment continues to shrink, although on the base end, Toyota technically has made the Camry cheaper when you compare it to the 2024 hybrid. Toyota has reduced the price by about $400. The base LE with front-wheel drive starts at around $28,400. Add $1,500 if you guys want all-wheel drive, which is actually pretty expensive. I wish Toyota was charging less than that for all-wheel drive for that separate electric motor at the back. Most people are probably going to buy an SE Camry, which will be around $30,400. Again, add $1,500 for it if you want all-wheel drive. The SE grade also allows you to get the option package for like a sunroof, the bigger 12-inch display. Remember, the base trims will have a smaller 8-inch display. The XSE trim is going to start at around $34,500. My test car here, of course, with the Premium Plus package that throws in a lot of equipment and all-wheel drive and the ocean gem color and the 2 accessories that it has, balloons the price to a rather lofty $43,694. So almost 44 grand puts it within within spitting distance of a Lexus ES300H. Now, of course, the ES is built off of the previous generation. They have the same infotainment system. However, the ES is a little bit larger. It's going to have more comfortable seats. It's going to have the Lexus badge. Most people who buy an ES hybrid are going to be spending around $50,000. So you can basically now get a Camry with all-wheel drive and the hybrid powertrain with more power and better efficiency for about less than the Lexus. But it also means that the Lexus version is going to be redesigned as well. And it gets me excited, of course, for what Lexus has in store for the next generation ES. I think, again, personally, the sweet spot is probably the SE grade Camry, which you can get for the low to mid $30,000 range. Or you can also, go a little bit easier on the options for this model and find an XSE for around $40,000. But just keep in mind that this does make the Camry a little bit more expensive than most of its rivals, and that's because this has the most power, the best efficiency, and the only model to offer all-wheel drive traction, which in my book makes it worth the extra money, especially when you factor in the Toyota longevity for reliability and build quality. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 9th generation 2025 Toyota Camry XSE. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.